All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And of course, thanks for subscribing. We've got the latest update, 10.69.2. And hopefully by the time you're watching this video, maybe the next day, everybody else will have gotten it, the wider release. Now, that's not completely wide, just the wider release to 100,000 plus beta testers or users that have FSD Beta on their car, coming from 10.12.2 to now this one. And hopefully you'll be able to see the difference in the quality from those different builds. All right, so we're going to jump right into the drive. For those that are new, we're going to do 2 passes, 2 routes to test out regressions and see how much better it's gotten or how much worse it's gotten from the previous build. Our previous build was 10.69.1.1, and now we're on 10.69.2. So let's jump right into it, into the drive right now. Let's not even waste time. No release notes today. There are some release notes, some different adjustments they made specifically around pedestrians. That's the only notable one, around more hesitancy and more reticence around pedestrians. So the car may overly brake in anticipation of what a pedestrian is going to do. But other than that, we should have a pretty straightforward drive. So let's jump into it right now. I'm going to start it up once we get to this corner because it's trying to route me the other way. All right, so I'll come out here, and then as I come off this lot, I should be able to reroute going this way, which is our normal path. And now it's going to reroute, and now I'm going to activate. Okay, so going up to the stop sign. Nobody to the left. And it goes for it. Good. All right, FSD Beta 10.69.2, Tesla Model S Plaid, doing our regression test paths. Keeping it at the limit, autopilot set to average, not assertive. And everything else is pretty straightforward. Getting over into that shoulder once again, that bike lane again to make the turn. Slows down to about 10 miles an hour to make the turn. Good distance there. So far, so good. Let's see what happens here. A little too close right here. A little too close right there. That's what you can see in terms of the distance, how far it is away from the curb. That's what we want to focus on here, is making sure that it's a good distance away, because that adds to the level of comfort that someone has behind the yoke. A little bit of phantom braking here. Maybe because the shadows of the trees, the sun is starting to come out a little bit. Taking the turn nicely here. Slows down a little bit too much for this car. So generally the same and consistent from 69.1.1, where it does some of the same things in terms of how it handles that. Overly cautious for that car and that pedestrian. I think that's what really causes it to slow down. Extra cautious. So obviously Tesla's rolling this out, and this is our sort of unprotected left turn here. The car to the left is turning. Now it's clear. It's clear to go. Go, 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 go. Needs to go. I didn't press anything. It just made its decision and went. So pretty good. Got out there into the lane and then sort of made its mind. Didn't really like that because a car was coming on the left. So they could have done a little bit better there in terms of commit. But once it committed, it went forward and went good. So pretty good there. But to what I was saying before, as Tesla starts to roll this out, they want to be extra cautious. So they're increasing the hesitancy around pedestrians so as to not get into any situations. However, Tesla the Tesla autopilot has always been excellent around pedestrians in terms of avoiding them, seeing them, no matter what size they are, how thin they are, how wide they are. They've always been doing a good job of detecting pedestrians. So that's pretty good. Pedestrians here getting into their car. Pretty good there so far. Give us some feedback. So if you just got this, definitely, be extra cautious. Don't be afraid to take over. Don't be afraid to intervene as needed. It's based on your level of comfort. If you're not comfortable with it, definitely take over. People that you see on YouTube, including ourselves, have been doing this for a while. So there's a certain level of comfort that we have with it, just based on, our experience. And for us specifically, we've had over, 6-7 years of driving this autopilot system. So we're very familiar with it. We had no incident until 10.12.2 curbed our rim on a very tight turning scenario. That was the only incident we have. Never hit a person, never hit another car, never hit a railing or anything like that. So again, use your own discretion, use your own level of comfort. And the more you use it, the more comfortable you'll get with it behind the yoke or behind the wheel. But so far, so good. This is 10.69.2. So far, so good. Technically, this is maybe 10.14, as 10.13 was overridden by 10.69. So this might be 10.14 or 10.13.2. I'm not sure exactly which one it is. Needs to be in this lane. Does a good job getting in and out aggressively. So stays composed. Ask for me paying attention to make sure that I'm here for this intersection. And now we're seeing it get a little close to this, get a little close to the yellow line here, which is what it wasn't doing, especially when we got where that van is. When we get to where that van is, the car started to try to sort of veer in this direction in the last build. Let's see if it does that the same now or if it's changed. Obviously, this car is turning, so it's going to have to get around there. But let's see how quickly it gets back over once it gets around this car. Making its way around, being extra cautious, sees the car's turning. Okay. Asks for me to get a hand on the wheel, hand on the yoke. Gets back on there. Okay, so not bad, not terrible. Didn't disrupt anyone behind us. Didn't make it feel awkward for me in the car. So overall, it's pretty good. And that's the general feeling that you have with this 10.69 releases, is that they're just generally, they make you feel more comfortable in the car just based on the maneuvers that it does. It's not as indecisive as it used to be, and therefore gives you a better level of comfort. Train tracks not active, goes straight through. Very good. And it's pulling over to the side here because it sees this car here, and we've reached our destination. So I will disengage and take over. And then I'm going to continue the trip here. All right, so far the first pass, it did really well. No real issues, no major issues. I will remove my stop. Edit my trip, remove my stop. Done. And now I will go to the next one. Abrupt and prompt turn here. See what happens. Paying attention to the distance between the curb. And now we're gonna go to the second pass. So I'll try to make this a multi-stop trip just to make it easier and quicker as we transition, and also to see how the car handles, changing from one destination to the next. Comes to a stop. There is a person to the left of us. It let them go. I'm gonna give it some acceleration just to let it acknowledge that it wants to go now. Again, just paying attention to the distance of the curb here. Good job. Slows down a little bit here. Non-active train tracks. Pretty good. Slows down again, just near pedestrians. Pedestrians, it gets very squirrely right now with this latest build. Admittedly so by Elon, saying that it enhanced its reticence around pedestrians. All right, look all clear here. Let's see what happens. Okay, good job. A little bit of a dip. I think the pothole that it hit threw it off a little bit, so I had to turn the yoke a little bit more. It wasn't a deep pothole, but it did adjust the way that the trajectory of the car was going, so not terrible there. Slows for the yellow. When we get further up this path here, we're gonna have to get into the right lane to proceed straight. We're gonna see what happens there. And then we'll go up some suburban streets, tight parking, tight maneuvers, and then the winding mountain road and see how it fares. Again, I don't expect it to deviate too much just because it's a point release, but we'll see what happens. Good job responding to the light immediately and not having to wait. Still taking a long time to get over. Still taking a long time to get over. Is it gonna get over? At the last minute, it decides to get over. Okay, so a little bit hesitant, doesn't really know that it should be here, but it sees that it needs to be here. So see the car passing here, it had to go kind of around. This Model 3 is also going around the back of us because we're kind of sticking out into that lane. Probably should have got over a lot sooner. For the sake of consistency, I'll go ahead and flag that one. All right, goes a little wide here, not terrible. Doesn't go over the yellow line, so I'm not mad about that. Needs to make this right turn coming up here. And again, just a little bit of extra braking on this build right now. A little bit of hesitation, not as much confidence as 10.69.1.1, especially on a turn like that where it sort of move the steering yoke a little bit more. So not too great. It is going from overcast conditions to sunny. Not that that really matters or should matter, but that's just something to note. Took its time, waited its turn. Now we're going. Excellent job. Still does not sort of center itself in a straight path, sort of weaves in and out of cars as they're parked on the side of the road. That seems to be consistent. These cones might pose a problem in terms of space to get through. Let's see what happens. Slows down. Not a big deal for FSD Beta. Good job. Comes to a stop. It's our turn to go. Hesitates a little bit. I'm going to give it some acceleration because it waited for this car to go. And it was still our time. It was an always stop. That car was late coming to the stop sign. It was our right of way and it didn't want to go. So not great. Again, I'll just flag it. Hopefully they can make a correction. 10.69.1.1 didn't do that. Kind of went straight through. So a little bit of a regression there, but again, there could be many factors that can contribute to why it did what it did. Okay, let's see what happens here. A garbage truck or some kind of waste truck leaves, goes around. They're waving us through. Not that that matters for the car, but did a good job avoiding those garbage cans and some of the debris on the ground, so that's good. One of the release notes of 69.1.1 was about maneuvers for slow moving objects or smaller objects in the road. Some of that could have been accounted for with debris. So that's good. Happy to see that. Very hesitant around that pedestrian. Didn't know if it was going to turn or not. Good prediction, but it should be a little bit more smooth with that. It should anticipate based on how far the car is. Now, I'm not a developer, but I think that's kind of how humans do it. If they are past the person, they shouldn't be slowing down because technically, even if they decide to cross, they're going to still have to wait for the car to get out of the path. All right. Goes straight through. No cars at the intersection here, so it goes straight through. Blind turn up here. Let's see what happens. Did pretty good last time. Let it do its thing. Big pothole, it's gonna hit. Ow, that hurt. Still can't recognize the potholes, but okay. Baby steps. All right, now we're going up the winding mountain pass. Let's see if it slows down for this median again, like it normally does. It does slow down to about 15 miles an hour. Okay, going in here. A little bit wide. Cyclist coming down the road. Slows down pretty good for it. Keep an eye here on how close it is to the edge. Slows down a little bit. I don't mind it taking its time as long as it does the right thing. And we're off. Slows down. Now this is where we're inside of a park and the speed limit has changed to 50 miles an hour. I noticed that late last time. I'm going to notice it early this time and go down to 25. All right, cars parked. Nice Porsche here. I don't know what they're doing. Let's see if it avoids it. Very close to it. Wow. Good job, but it was very close. That's why I had to have my hand up, a little too close for my comfort, but he was sticking over the line a little bit as well. A little close to the barrier here. Notice here how close it is for my comfort, so I'm a little bit squirrely, and some deer. I'm going to slow down here just because I don't know what the deer was going to do. I'll resume now, drop it down from 50. I don't know why that 50 is there. Drop it down to 25, even though the speed limit is 10. There is someone behind me who might be bothered by that, but I'll leave it at 25 just to speed up the video here. No other people are on the road ahead of us. I take that back. There is someone jogging right here. Let's see how the car handles this. Jogging on the opposite side of the road. Let's see how they react. Okay, very good. Stays composed, keeps its speed, doesn't do any phantom braking or predictive braking, as I call it, where it sort of anticipates what a person is going to do and brakes as a result of that. Okay, so far we're doing the same things as 69.1.1, which is great, meaning no real regressions, minus additional braking. And I think that's just attributed to the enhanced sensitivity to pedestrians that they've implemented with this particular build now that it's going wider. All right, now we typically stop here. I'm going to keep going. Okay. It put on its blinker because it was turning the yoke a certain degree. When your wheel turns to a certain degree or your yoke turns to a certain degree, it's going to automatically put on the blinker. Be prepared for that if this is your first time getting FSD Beta. We've got some cones here and some other things. Again, still goes wide there, so that's not good. I'm going to let this go this time and see what happens. Slows down significantly for it, almost to a stop, and doesn't really know what to do. Let's see what happens. A little bit fast through the cones. Very fast here. I'm going to stop here. I was a little too fast for my taste. I'm going to go ahead and flag that one as well. All right, so that's it. That's pretty much what it is. It looks like 10.69.2 is pretty much more of the same with some additional hesitancy and additional braking as a result of it. So if you haven't gotten it, or if you just got it, be prepared for that. Be prepared for the sensation of overly braking the car based on what it thinks is predictive nature of what pedestrians are going to be doing, or for whatever phantom situations might be happening. Not necessarily phantom braking, but just predictive, anticipating things that you might not be able to see that it thinks is going to happen. All right, but that's pretty much it. I'm very happy with this build. It's still pretty comfortable in scenarios where I know I'm going to use it. I typically would not let it ride through a park, so I typically am not too mad at what it did at the end there. This is in a park where lots of pedestrians would be typically, so I typically wouldn't have it drive through the park. I would typically just let it go on major highways, major roads, but not in a park. All right, so this is sort of an edge case here in this regard, so I'm not mad at that. but generally on the streets, driving through suburban roads, driving through different traffic scenarios, it did pretty good. I'm happy with it. It's consistent. I hope you enjoy your build if you got it. So let me know if you got it. Let me know in the comments. Did you get 10.69.2? How does it compare from 10.12.2 in terms of level of comfort, in terms of disengagements, in terms of how the decisions that it makes? Okay? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and until the next time,
enjoy your day, enjoy your Tesla.